Match day, the best and most enjoyable part of the week as a footballer. Now, up until around 4 years ago when I signed my first professional contract, I never realised how much preparation really goes into a full week leading up to a game. So you spend all week from Monday to Friday putting in countless hours both in the gym and on the pitch, all for a 90-minute game, which ultimately can end in disappointment or enjoyment for a few days. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I prepare for a match day a day before a game to give myself the best chance of a good performance. As well as this, we're going to go through some match day highlights from a few of my recent games, which includes potentially one of the best goals I've scored to date. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So it's match day -1, day before a game, which means it's all about preparation today. Now the time is currently about 8 AM. I'm on my way to training to make sure that we're all ready for tomorrow's game. So for those who don't know, I'm currently on loan and I have been for around 2 months now. In that time, I've probably played around 10 to 11 games, which has been really good. I'm actually really enjoying it. I think right now we're currently about 9 games unbeaten in the league. So of course, we're hoping we continue this run in the league tomorrow, which is another long trip, but one I'm actually really looking forward to. Now for a little bit of last month and for the whole of this month, we've actually had Tuesday and Saturday games consistently. So as you can imagine, it's been quite tough on the body with all the traveling and all the games, but again, not too much to complain about. So the plan for today, and as always, a day before a game, is just to prepare as much as we can. So this will consist of a meeting in the morning just to prepare for the opposition tomorrow. So we'll go through things like what formation they play, the personnel they have, their set pieces, and other things like that. And then usually we'll have a short and sharp session outdoors just to make sure our body is fully prepared, have a little bit of lunch, and then head straight to the gym to do some extra work. So that's training done, and before we get home, usually I'll head straight into the gym for some more prep work as well as a light session. This is completely personal preference and something which works for me, however could potentially fatigue your body if you do too much. But as usual, into my session, I'll start off with some mobility and activation, stopping my body from seizing up after this morning's training session. This includes some band work as well as a full mobility session for around 20 minutes, which then takes us into a full upper body session where I'll be keeping the sets and the reps low. And if you're wondering what that consists of, it's around 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps, making sure I'm keeping the weight as high as I can. Now, something I wanted to touch on quickly is about my training split, as a lot of you asked in my last video. So right now I am following my in-season program, which is available on my app, and I have been repeating that since the start of the season. Now this consists of many different gym sessions, such as lower body exercises, upper body exercises, and even full body. And it's tailored specifically around when I have games on Saturday, or even when I have 2 games in 1 week, so Tuesday and Saturdays. And so I'll work completely around that. So on the weeks where I have 2 games in 1 week, I will change it up and I won't go gym as often. However, when I've only got 1 game in the week, it will allow me to get to the gym even more. And as I do only only get to the gym around 3 or 4 times a week during the season, I do have a range of different exercises throughout my sessions. And that's why in all of my sessions, I'll never target a specific muscle or a specific area. I'll do different exercises to target different muscles. So that is my food cooking, and something I did want to touch on quickly is about nutrition on your game day and leading up to games. So for me, around 48 hours to 24 hours before a game, I always like to keep my meals high in carbs and high in protein. And quickly, if you haven't seen it, I did do a what I eat in a day where I covered my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks throughout the week. So if you haven't seen that, again, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. If not, you can check my channel. But anyway, with all of my meals, I always try to keep them as clean as possible. So with my meat, I always go for things like turkey, chicken, or fish. And I really avoid things like red meat just because of how long they take to digest and also how high they are in fat. So that's my usual protein source. And then when it comes to my carbs, again, keeping it really clean with things like pastas, rice, and potatoes. And when it comes to my veg, it's pretty much always the same, things like broccoli, spinach, or kale. And so leading up to games, I'll always pick one of these protein sources, one of these carb sources, put them together as a meal, and that's as simple as it is. Now, I'm not one of these people who tracks exactly how many calories they eat in a day just because I know roughly what my body needs. But 24 hours before my game, I will make sure my meals are a lot bigger than usual. And then on game day, my meals will be really small just so I feel as light as possible going into the game. And again, I can't stress enough, this is what works for me and might not work for others. So it's always best you try and see what works for you. Right, so that's another big meal done. Now, something I quickly wanted to touch on before I get into what I wanted to say was at least 97 or 98% of you are not actually subscribed to the channel. So I'd really appreciate this. If you're watching it right now, quickly subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and it makes me want to push out more videos for you guys. Anyway, time is currently 3 in the afternoon, and as usual, I'm jumping onto these compression boots just to help with a little bit more recovery until tomorrow's game. Now, I'm going to do 10 minutes now, and then probably another 15 to 20 minutes later on in the evening. Now, I have explained the benefits of these in my other videos, but if you haven't seen them, basically they help reduce muscle soreness and improve blood circulation. And I do try and use these for around 15 to 20 minutes every single day, and I have seen a big improvement in my recovery, so I'm just going to carry on using them. Also, something else I wanted to touch on, as some of you are watching this video and it is a day before a game, you might be thinking I'm doing too much, as I did do 2 sessions today. Now, what I do want to say is this is completely personal preference. I know some footballers who don't like to do anything a day before a game as they'll feel better on match day. And I know others who like to do full sessions to make sure they're fully topped up and feeling sharp going into the game. Now, for me personally, I like to do a little bit of a mix, but all of my sessions are really short and sharp. So with my gym session, I was keeping the sets and reps low, as I said earlier. And during training, as you saw as well, there was no drills where we're hitting our top speed or we're doing any sprints. So for you personally, if you're not sure what you should be doing 24 hours before a game, what I would recommend is trying out both different ways. So the goal now for the rest of the day is to recover as much as possible. Like I said, I'm going to do these compression boots later, another mobility session just so I'm topped up and ready. And just like in my other videos, I'm going to talk about Whoop quickly because I have seen a big improvement in my physical performance, my sleep and my recovery since I've been using it. And so on the screen now, as you can see, once it's fully calibrated, you'll be able to see your recovery for the day, how long you've slept, your HRV, your heart rate, and all of these other health benefits. So essentially, you really want to try and be in the yellow or green every single day. And so for me, I'm going to try and recover as much as possible today so I can be in the green zone come tomorrow. So if you'd like your first month free and you'd like to purchase this, you can use the link in the description below. And if you have any questions, you can also drop me a DM on Instagram. And before I get to mention, I don't want to forget about the electrolytes and how important these actually are. As you can see, I did put a few tablets in here this morning and we are nearly done, so I'm going to top up soon. But what I usually do every single morning is get a big bottle like this, which is 1.5 liters, and I'll put 2 to 3 tablets in there and constantly sip it throughout the day. And of course, leading up to your game and on game day, you need to make sure you're fully hydrated. So if you don't want to have them every single day, I would recommend you have them 24 hours before at least. So we're back, it is match day, it's an evening kickoff, so we do have a lot more time to prepare than we usually would. I'm going to go with my normal breakfast, of course, at around 9 AM and make sure we do all of our prep later in the gym. So if this is your first time watching me, then you wouldn't know that this is my usual breakfast I have every single morning. It wouldn't change on a match day or even a recovery day. And it is my biggest meal of the day. I tried it a few weeks ago and I have stuck with it ever since. Now what it includes is 4 eggs with some sourdough bread, and we have some Greek yogurt with some fruit on the side. So like I said, as it is an evening game, we do have a lot more time to prepare, so we are going to change it up a little bit today. In about an hour, we're going to head straight to the gym, do a little bit of prep work, which includes mobility. Come back, finish off with our final prep, then head straight to the stadium where the bus will be, and then it's another long journey.
Stages of the second half when Eastbourne had been reduced to 9. Lamar Reynolds scoring on the left-hand side of defence. Papadopoulos is striding into opposition territory. Cundall is onside for Maidstone. Cundall picks the ball up on the far side. He's being challenged by Cisse. Rolled back into Papadopoulos. He's on the edge of the area. He's going to try and find a space to shoot. He shoots. He scores! What a goal that is from Papadopoulos, brilliantly set up. Took a touch and picked his spot. It's 2-1 Maidstone, and what a hit that is, Sean.
Absolute perler. He had a cracking volley at Bath this time last week, and that one, he's just picked his spot and he's bent it. It's not the most powerful strike in the world, Fred, but it's just nestled and it rolls around the net and the stones.
Headed out, and that's Bentley has a shot.
That's in the back of the net! Oh, what a hit!
That wasn't Matt Bentley. That Bentley had a shot. It was cleared, and again behind the speaker from where I was, that was a 30-yard rocket into the top corner, and the Stones are in front.
Thundered that into the top corner, right foot volley, and Stones turn it around there. What an absolutely brilliant finish.
Gone here and walking away, no goals so far between Maidstone and Albans. Cross comes in from Brooks, it's going to fall for Papadopoulos, and Papadopoulos should score!
Get in. Lovely controlled finish from Antony Papadopoulos there.
Papadopoulos has lost his marker in the area. The cross came in initially. It looked like St Albans would clear it quite comfortably. And Papadopoulos has just drifted off his marker. And he almost had too much time to think about that one. Brought it under control and picked his spot. The fast intercepted by Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos has won that against him. Plays it out to Seaman, back to Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos who's that one downfield looking for Pavey. Beaten to it by Fowler, and it's chipped over the top of Blair, and Wright is out to try and control it, and there could be a third for Maidstone here. Blair is through on goal. Blair has to score, and Blair does score!